I was halfway through reheating last night's leftovers when my phone buzzed. Rafi's name flashed on the screen. I smiled. Yo, man. Long time, you alive? His voice came out tight. Hyder, you sitting down? I laughed. Why? You sound like someone died. Just promise you won't freak out. Something in his tone froze me. Rafi, what is it? He hesitated. It's about Sarah. My grip on the phone tightened. Sarah? Her name tasted strange. What about her? He exhaled sharply. Bro, I didn't mean to find out like this, but she's living with someone. I frowned. So? She can live with whoever she wants. It's been 2 years. He stayed silent for a second too long. It's Ayan. I blinked. Ayan who? Your brother. The microwave beeped, but I didn't move. That's a sick joke, Rafi. I wish it was. My voice dropped. You're lying, he sighed. Check your messages. A notification popped up. I opened the photo. Sarah stood beside my brother in a grocery aisle, holding a basket, laughing. His arm rested casually on her shoulder. Rafi, I whispered. When was this taken? Yesterday. I saw them myself. My stomach twisted. You sure? Maybe it's someone who looks like her. I know what Sarah looks like, Hyder. I didn't answer. I just stared at the image. My brother. My ex. Together. Rafi spoke again, quieter now. I didn't know how to tell you, bro. I thought your parents might have said something. They didn't, I muttered. Of course they didn't. Maybe there's an explanation. There's not, I cut him off. There's no explanation for this. He was silent. I rubbed my face. How long? Not sure, but long enough for them to be comfortable in public, I laughed dryly. Comfortable? Yeah, that's one word for it. Hyder. I'm fine. No, you're not. Rafi, drop it. I ended the call before my voice cracked. For a while, I just sat there. The food on the table grew cold. My apartment felt too quiet, too clean, like it didn't belong to me anymore. I opened my contacts and tapped Mom. It rang 3 times, then went to voicemail. Ami, it's me. Call me back. I tried Dad next. No answer. The clock ticked loudly. My reflection in the dark window looked like a stranger. I whispered to it, they wouldn't do this, not him. Not her, but even saying it didn't make it true. I grabbed my jacket and paced the room. Every corner held ghost. Sarah's laughter, her voice teasing me while she cooked. You work too much, she used to say. I'd kiss her forehead and promise her weekends. Then I'd break that promise again and again. Maybe she got tired of waiting. Maybe that's why she left. But my brother? I called Rafi again. Where are they staying? Hyder, don't... Where? He sighed. Apartment near Goldberg. I saw them at the market nearby. Text me the address. Hyder, listen to me. Don't do anything stupid. I just want to talk. That's what everyone says before they do something stupid. Rafi. He groaned. Fine, but please think first. When his message came, I stared at the address until the screen dimmed. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the phone. I sat on the couch staring into the dark. My chest felt tight. The betrayal didn't hit all at once. It seeped in slowly like poison. Images of Ayan flashed in my head. Us playing cricket as kids, fighting over the front seat, his laughter echoing through the house. We used to share everything. I just didn't think that would include the woman I loved. My phone buzzed again. Rafi texted, "Don't go tonight, please." I didn't reply. Instead, I walked to my bedroom, opened the old wooden box on my desk, and pulled out the engagement ring I'd never returned. Sarah's ring. It caught the light, mocking me. I whispered to it, was I really that easy to replace? The ring didn't answer, of course. Neither did my heart. I put it back and closed the box. It was almost midnight when I tried calling my mother again. This time she answered, voice trembling. Hyder, it's late. Everything okay? Is Ayan home? A pause. Why? Because Rafi just told me he's living with Sarah. Silence. Long. Heavy. Finally, she said softly, Hyder, don't do this tonight. So it's true. Please, son. You knew? Her breath hitched. We didn't want you to get hurt, I laughed bitterly. Too late for that, Ami. Hyder, listen. I hung up. The walls felt closer now, pressing in. My heart pounded like it wanted out of my chest. I sank into the chair and buried my face in my hands. All the noise of the city outside faded into nothing. I remembered the night Sarah and I ended things, her saying, "I can't keep waiting for you to show up." I thought she meant emotionally. Turns out she meant literally. Maybe I should have fought harder. Maybe I should have noticed how distant she was those last months. Maybe I should have realized she'd already found someone else, someone too close, but I didn't. I was too busy being proud. Too busy believing family meant safety. Now, all I could think was, my brother took her. My parents let him. The leftover food still sat on the table, untouched. The microwave clock blinked 12:03. I whispered into the dark, "Everything's gone, isn't it?" No one answered. Just silence, heavy, final, and cruel. And somewhere between that silence and the ringing in my ears, something inside me cracked so quietly I almost didn't hear it, but I felt it. Something broke, and there was no going back. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, the rage was louder than my heartbeat. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to my parents' house, the same house where every lie had been born. Mom opened the door, smiling faintly. "Hyder, you didn't say you were coming." I stepped inside without answering. "You didn't tell me Ian was back in town?" Her smile faltered. "Oh, you heard? I heard?" I repeated, laughing without humor. "That's all you have to say?" She folded her hands, eyes darting toward the hallway. "We didn't know how to tell you. Tell me what?" I snapped. "That my brother's living with the woman I was supposed to marry?" Her lips trembled. "Hyder, don't." I pointed toward the dining table, the same place Sarah once sat beside me at family dinners. "You let them sit here? Eat with you like nothing happened?" Dad's voice came from behind. "It just happened, son. We didn't want to upset you." I turned to him slowly. "Upset me?"
You thought lying would make me less upset.
He sighed, rubbing his temple. We tried to handle it quietly. "You were already under pressure from work." I laughed bitterly. "So, while I was busy fixing my life, you were all pretending there was no knife in my back?" Mom's voice cracked. "Hyder, please lower your voice." "Why?" I shouted. "The whole neighborhood should hear how loyal this family is." She started crying softly, whispering my name, but I couldn't stop. Every word burned, then I heard footsteps from the hallway. Ayan's voice. "What's going on?" I froze. He walked in wearing casual clothes, hair still messy from sleep. And beside him, Sarah. Her eyes met mine for half a second before she looked away. I couldn't breathe. "Wow," I said quietly. "So this is how it is now?" Ayan stepped forward. "Hyder, let me explain." "Explain what?" I cut him off. "That you're sleeping with the woman I was supposed to marry? That our parents were cheering you on?" Sarah flinched but said nothing. Dad raised a hand. "Enough. We're not doing this here." "Oh, we are!" My voice shook. "We're doing this right here because apparently no one in this house believes in honesty anymore." Ian looked frustrated. "It's not what you think. Don't insult me." "Hyder, she came to me after you broke things off," he said quickly. "She was lost. Your excuse is that she was lonely?" I barked. "You think that justifies betraying me?" Sarah finally spoke, her voice trembling. "It wasn't planned, really?" I took a step closer. "You were just walking one day and accidentally fell into his life?" She looked at me then, her eyes wet. "You left me first, Hyder." The words hit like a slap. "I left you?" I repeated. "You stopped showing up," she whispered. "You buried yourself in work. I tried to talk to you, but you were never really there." I swallowed hard. "So your solution was my brother?" Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't mean for it to happen." Ayan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Hyder, stop shouting at her." I stared at his hand. "You touch her again, I swear—" "Enough!" Dad barked, his voice shaking. "We can't change what happened." I turned on him. "You could have stopped it." Mom stepped closer, crying harder. "We just wanted peace, Beta. Families fall apart when we choose sides. You should have chosen me." I yelled, "I'm your son!" The room went silent. My chest heaved, the weight of everything pressing down. Sarah whispered, "I'm sorry." I looked at her one last time. "No, you're not. You're relieved I found out. Now you don't have to hide." She turned away, biting her lip. I grabbed my keys off the table. "You all deserve each other," Ayan said quietly. "Hyder, please." I stopped at the door and looked back. "You'll regret this." "Both of you," he didn't reply. None of them did. As I stepped outside, the air hit me like ice. I stood there for a moment, staring at the house I grew up in, a house full of memories that now felt poisoned. I got into the car, my hands still shaking. Through the windshield, I saw Mom collapse onto the sofa, Dad pacing, Ayan holding Sarah close. I turned the key, the engine roaring to life. My throat burned, but no tears came. As I drove away, I whispered to myself, never again. I'm done with them. And I meant it. I would never come back. The days blurred together after that. I stopped answering calls, stopped eating properly, stopped caring. My phone kept buzzing, Raffi, my boss, even Mom, but I couldn't bring myself to pick up. What was left to say? One night, Raffi showed up at my door. He knocked until I opened. You look like hell, he said, stepping inside without waiting. Good observation, I muttered, walking back to the couch. He eyed the empty bottles and takeout boxes. You've been like this for a week? 2, he sighed. Hyder, you can't keep doing this, I laughed bitterly. Doing what? Breathing? Because that's about all I'm managing right now. He sat across from me. Look, I get it. What they did, it's disgusting. But killing yourself slowly isn't going to fix it. Fix it? I repeated. You think there's anything left to fix? He leaned forward. You can't let them win like this. They already did. He fell silent, staring at me. You haven't gone to work? Work doesn't matter. It mattered to you more than anything. Yeah, I said quietly. And look where that got me. He rubbed his forehead. You're not the only one hurting. I shot him a look. Don't tell me Ayan's hurting too. I'm saying you're letting them own you. Every minute you sit here hating them, you're still theirs. His words hit harder than I expected. I didn't reply. Raffi stood. Take a shower, eat something, then decide what kind of man you want to be. When he left, I sat there staring at the closed door. His words echoed, you're still theirs. I picked up my phone again, scrolling through old photos of Sarah and me. Her smile, her eyes, every detail felt like a knife. I opened our old chats. I love you, she had written 2 years ago. Promise me we'll never give up. I almost laughed. Then I noticed something. Timestamps. Messages that didn't line up. Days she said she was visiting her mother but had texted Ayan. Jokes between them I hadn't understood back then. It wasn't recent. They'd been together for months before I found out. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked, the sound sharp enough to make me flinch. I whispered to myself, they played me. It wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. My parents' silence made it worse. They hadn't just watched it happen, they'd approved it. By midnight, I was pacing. The anger burned hotter than grief now. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just felt hollow, like someone had carved me out and left the shell behind. I turned on my laptop, needing a distraction, but the universe had other plans. The first thing on my screen was a post from Sarah and Ayan, a smiling photo. A ring on her finger. Caption, forever begins here. I froze. My chest tightened so hard I thought I might pass out. My brother's arm around her waist, her head resting against him. They looked perfect. I heard my own voice whisper, engaged. They're engaged. My hands trembled over the keyboard. I clicked through the comments, people congratulating them, heart emojis everywhere. Even my mother's comment, so proud of you both. That one broke me. I grabbed the laptop and slammed it shut. The noise echoed through the empty apartment. I stood there, breathing heavily, every muscle tense. I felt something shift inside me, a quiet, terrifying calm. The rage didn't roar anymore. It whispered. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. My eyes looked older, colder. Fine, I said to it. You want to destroy me? Then watch me rebuild. I walked to the bathroom, turned on the tap, and splashed cold water on my face. My heart still hurt, but the shaking stopped. For the first time in weeks, my mind was clear. I looked down at the sink, water dripping from my chin. You either let this kill you, I whispered, or you kill what it made you. I walked back to the living room, opened the drawer, and pulled out a notebook. I wrote a single line across the first page. Either I destroy what destroyed me, or I never get out alive. The pen trembled in my hand, but the words felt right. I closed the notebook and looked around at the mess of my apartment. The empty bottles, the broken phone, the shattered pieces of who I used to be. I wasn't sure what came next. But I knew one thing, I wasn't done, not yet. Silence became my shield. Everyone thought I'd broken down completely, but I hadn't. I just stopped talking. I didn't argue, didn't explain, didn't defend myself anymore. People mistake quiet for weakness. They forget that fire burns even when it's buried. Rafi was the only one who kept checking on me. "You good?" He'd ask every few days. "I'm better than I look," I'd reply, even when my hands still shook sometimes. Work became my escape. I stopped drinking, stopped scrolling, stopped thinking about what I'd lost. I poured everything into my projects. Long nights, no sleep, no breaks. My boss noticed. "You've changed," he said one morning. "Yeah," I told him. "I stopped wasting energy on the wrong people," he smiled. "Keep this up and I'll have to promote you." He did. 2 months later, I was leading the biggest project our firm had ever taken on. Ayan could never dream of touching that kind of responsibility. I didn't even have to say it out loud. Success spoke louder than revenge ever could. Rafi clapped me on the back when I told him, "You're proving everyone wrong." "I'm not proving anything," I said. "I'm just becoming who I was supposed to be." He studied me. "You sound calm." "Too calm. I'm done screaming. Now I act." For a while, that peace held. My days filled with purpose again. My nights didn't feel endless anymore. I stopped seeing Sarah in every reflection. Then, one morning, an envelope arrived at my office. White, clean, elegant, my parents' handwriting on it. I knew before I even opened it. Inside was the wedding invitation, Ayan and Sarah. I stared at it for a long time, tracing the gold letters with my thumb. The date was set. The venue was the same hotel where my company had celebrated my last promotion dinner. I almost laughed at the irony. Rafi found me staring at it. "That what I think it is?" "Yeah. What are you gonna do?" I exhaled slowly. "I don't know yet." He leaned on my desk. "You could ignore it. Be the bigger person." I could, I said. "Or I could remind them I'm still alive." He frowned. "Revenge?" "No," I said. "Clarity." That night, I sat at my table with the invitation in front of me. My heart said burn it. My pride said go. In the end, pride won. The day of the wedding came too fast. I wore a black suit, sharp, simple, deliberate. When I walked into that hall, conversation stopped. The air changed. My parents looked shocked. Ayan froze, and Sarah, she looked like she'd seen a ghost. "Hide her," my father whispered, stepping forward. "You came." "I got the invitation," I said calmly. Ayan approached with that fake, polite smile he always wore when he didn't know what else to do.
Hey, man.
"I didn't think you'd..." I brushed past him. "Congratulations," I said flatly. He blinked. "Thanks," I turned back, smiling coldly. "You finally got what you always wanted." Something flickered in his eyes. Confusion, maybe guilt. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Sarah stood beside him, her hands clasped tight. "Hide her," she started. I met her gaze. "You look beautiful," I said, steady and empty. She swallowed hard. "I didn't expect..." "Don't worry," I interrupted. Neither did I. My mother tried to say something, but I raised a hand gently. "It's a happy day. Let's not ruin it." Then I turned and walked away, leaving their whispers behind me. Outside, the night was cool. The city lights glimmered on the water nearby. I took a deep breath, feeling that strange calm again. No shaking. No bitterness. Just control, Rafi called later. "So, you went?" "I went. And?" I said what I needed to. He chuckled softly. "You sound lighter." "I am," I said, watching the reflection of the hall lights fade behind me. "Sometimes silence isn't surrender. Sometimes it's preparation," he paused. "Preparation for what?" "For what comes next," I said. "And trust me, it's coming." Months slipped by quietly. I stopped expecting updates, but they found me anyway. Whispers had a way of reaching me, through relatives, co-workers, even Rafi. One afternoon, he slid into the seat across from me at lunch, grinning like he had a secret. "You heard about Ayan?" I didn't look up from my laptop. "No, and I'm not sure I care." "You'll care," he said, lowering his voice. "The golden couple isn't so golden anymore." I sighed. "Rafi, just listen. He's been drinking, a lot. Missed 2 weeks of work. Sarah quit her job. People are saying it's bad." For a moment, I didn't respond. I just closed my laptop slowly. And my parents? They're pretending everything's fine. You know how they are. Saving face. I leaned back in my chair. Of course. Can't have their perfect son look flawed. Rafi hesitated. "You're not happy about it?" I looked at him. Should I be? He shrugged. After what they did to you, yeah, maybe a little. I shook my head. No. Happiness built on someone else's misery isn't happiness. It's poison, he smirked. You're getting philosophical. Just realistic. Still, that night when I lay in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The same two people who once looked untouchable were now unraveling, and I didn't have to lift a finger. A week later, I ran into Sarah. It wasn't planned. I was at a cafe reviewing blueprints on my tablet when a familiar voice broke my focus. Hide her. I froze before looking up. She stood there, same face, different aura. The light in her eyes had dimmed. She wore a plain beige coat, hair tied loosely, no rings, no sparkle. Hi, I said quietly. She smiled faintly. Didn't think I'd see you here? Neither did I said, closing my tablet. You look different. Tired? She asked, half joking, half honest. I nodded. Something like that. She took the seat across from me without asking. You seem happy. I am, I said simply. You? Her lips parted, but no words came out. Just silence. That silence told me everything. After a while, she said, I see your name everywhere. New projects, awards. You really did it. I just stopped letting pain waste my time, I replied. She looked down at her coffee. Ayan says you've changed. I did, I said. Pain tends to do that. Her voice softened. He's going through things. I heard, I said. He'll figure it out. Or he won't. She flinched at the calmness in my tone. You don't hate me? I met her gaze. Hate takes energy. I spent enough of that already. Her eyes watered, just slightly. You always had this stillness. I never understood it. Maybe you didn't wait long enough to, I said. She nodded slowly, staring into her cup. We thought we'd be happy, but maybe we started from a lie. Lies don't build homes, I said softly. They build cages. For a second, she looked like she might say more, but instead she stood up. I should go, I nodded. Take care, Sarah. She hesitated. You too. When she walked away, I didn't feel triumph or relief. Just a strange calmness, the kind that comes after a storm when you realize the wreckage isn't yours anymore. Rafi called that night. You okay? I heard you saw her. I'm fine, I said. And her? She's living with the choices she made. He whistled softly. Damn, karma really clocked in, huh? I smiled faintly. Revenge isn't always about revenge, Rafi. Sometimes it's just watching life balance the scales. He was quiet for a moment. You really let it go, didn't you? Yeah, I said, staring out my window at the city lights. Because I finally learned something. What's that? That peace feels better than payback. The call came late. Too late for anything good. My phone buzzed past midnight. Mom's voice cracked through the line. Hyder, please, talk to your brother. He's not okay. I sat up, rubbing my face. Mom, it's been months. He made his choices. He's still your brother, she said, sniffling. Please, just this once. Silence stretched between us. I didn't want to care. But a part of me, the part that still remembered the boy who shared my room and secrets, couldn't ignore it. Where is he? I finally asked, at the old house. He won't answer my calls. Maybe he'll talk to you. I hesitated, then said quietly, I'll go. The drive felt endless. The city lights blurred against the windshield like fading memories. When I reached the house, the front gate hung half open. His car was there, covered in dust. I knocked once, no answer. Then again, louder. The door creaked open, and Ayan stood there. His face looked older, his eyes hollowed out like something inside had died. Hide her, he said weakly. Mom's worried, I replied. She said you weren't okay. He gave a dry laugh. She's not wrong, he stepped aside. Come in, if you still can. The living room was a mess, bottles, papers, clothes. I didn't sit. What happened to you? He sank into a chair. Everything, he muttered. Sarah left. The words hung heavy in the air. I stared at him, unsure what to feel. Left as in... Gone, he said, eyes vacant. Took half my money, packed up. Moved to Karachi. I swallowed hard. You're serious? He laughed again, bitter this time. Do I look like I'm joking? No, I said quietly. You look like a man who finally understands. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. She said she never stopped loving you. His voice broke. Can you believe that? I didn't answer. He slammed his fist against the table. I gave her everything, Hyder. Everything. And she still looked at me like I was second best. She was always chasing something she didn't understand, I said softly. He stared at me. And what was that? Peace, I replied. But she looked for it in people instead of herself. He exhaled shakily. You hate me, don't you? I looked at him for a long moment. I did, I admitted. For a long time. And now? Now I just feel sorry, he frowned. Sorry? For me? For both of us, I said. For what we lost. For how far we fell trying to prove something. He rubbed his eyes. I thought winning her would make me happy. And? It didn't, he said. It ruined me. I nodded slowly. You know, when you took her, I thought I'd never forgive you. But seeing you now, I realize forgiveness isn't for you. It's for me. He looked up desperate. Then forgive me. I already did, I said simply. Tears filled his eyes. You're a better man than I'll ever be. No, I said, shaking my head. I just learned the hard way that pain doesn't disappear by giving it to someone else. He wiped his face. What do I do now? Start over, I said. Without her. Without guilt. Just start. He looked away. I don't know how. You will, I said, turning toward the door. You always figured things out when it was too late. Maybe this time, don't wait that long. He gave a broken laugh. Still giving advice, huh? Old habits, I said. As I stepped outside, the air felt lighter. Behind me, the door closed softly, like a chapter ending. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel anger. Just a quiet sadness and peace. Because in the ruins of what used to be my life, I finally found myself again. Weeks passed before I drove back to my parents' house. The road felt familiar, yet distant. Like I was traveling through old memories I wasn't sure I wanted to visit. When I parked outside, Mom was already standing by the door. She didn't say anything at first. She just walked up and wrapped her arms around me, trembling slightly. You came, she whispered. I did, I said quietly. It's been a while. She pulled back, eyes red. I thought we lost you. You almost did. Inside, the air smelled the same. Tea, dust, old comfort. Dad sat at the table, newspaper open but unread. When he looked up, there was a pause, the kind that carried too much history. Hyder, he said finally. Sit. I took the chair across from him. Mom poured tea, hands shaking. The silence wasn't cold this time. It was just tired. Dad cleared his throat. We made mistakes. I looked at him. You think? He nodded slowly. We thought we were protecting you. But maybe we were protecting ourselves. I stared into my cup. You let me find out from a friend. You let me think family didn't mean anything. Mom's voice cracked. We didn't know how to tell you. We thought maybe it would hurt less if we stayed quiet. It didn't, I said. Silence hurt more than the truth ever could. She nodded, tears slipping down. I'm sorry. For a long moment, no one spoke. The clock ticked somewhere behind us, counting seconds that felt like years. Finally, I said, I don't know if I can forgive you completely. Not yet, Dad exhaled. That's fair. But, I added, I'm done being angry. Mom looked up, startled. You are? I nodded. Carrying hate is heavier than letting it go. I'm tired of dragging it around. She reached for my hand. We just want you back. I'm here, I said. That's a start. After tea, I stepped into the backyard. The same one where we used to take family photos every Eid. The old swing still creaked, and the jasmine bush still leaned toward the fence. I stood there quietly, remembering laughter that didn't ache back then. Ayan's voice echoed in my head from our last talk. Start over. Maybe that's what all of us were doing in our own ways. Mom joined me outside. Your brother called, she said softly. He's doing better. Got a new job. That's good, I said. He asked about you. I smiled faintly. Tell him I'm fine. You could tell him yourself, she suggested. Maybe soon, I said. But not today, she nodded, understanding. We stood there in silence, side by side, not fixing the past, just accepting it. As the sun dipped behind the wall, I whispered, mostly to myself, we all lost something we can't replace. Mom looked at me. Then let's not lose each other again. I nodded. I'll try. and for the first time in a long time, trying felt like enough. A year later, I stopped by the same grocery store where it all began, the one from that photo Rafi had sent me, the image that had torn my world apart. I wasn't sure why I went there. Maybe to see if it still hurt. It didn't. The parking lot was full, same neon sign buzzing faintly above the entrance. Life moved on, indifferent. I stood there for a moment watching people go in and out, strangers with carts, kids laughing, someone arguing over prices. Just ordinary life. I walked inside. The air smelled of fresh bread and detergent. My reflection flashed across the glass doors of the freezer aisle, and for a second, I almost didn't recognize myself. A voice startled me. "Hyder," I turned. It was Rafi, holding a basket full of snacks. He grinned. "Man, it's been forever. You look different. Better or worse?" I asked. "Better," he said. "Like someone who finally slept 8 hours." I laughed quietly. "Maybe I did," he eyed me carefully. "You ever talk to Ayan?" "Sometimes," I said. "He's doing okay. We're not close, but we're civil. And Sarah? She's gone," I replied. "Moved abroad, I think." I stopped keeping track. He nodded. "You really let it all go, huh?" "Yeah," I said, picking up a bottle of water. "I had to," he smiled faintly. "I'm proud of you, man. You came a long way." "Not far enough," I said, smirking. "Still hate traffic," he laughed, clapping my shoulder. "Some things never change." After he left, I wandered through the aisles aimlessly. Every corner felt like a memory once, but now it was just a store, a place where life kept happening, even when mine had fallen apart. As I walked toward the exit, I caught my reflection again in the glass door, taller somehow, posture straight, eyes calm. The man staring back wasn't broken anymore. For so long I had wanted revenge, closure, apologies, some grand moment where everything made sense. But standing there, I realized peace didn't come from fixing the past. It came from no longer needing to. Outside, the evening breeze brushed against my face. The city lights blinked in the distance. "Steady and quiet," I whispered almost without thinking. "I forgive you. Not to Sarah, not to Ayan, not even to my parents, to me. To the man I used to be. The one who had loved too hard, broken too deep, and finally learned to let go. Then I walked away, leaving the ghosts where they belonged, behind me.